Okay, welcome back. Good job so far. Now let's talk about building value, which is the fourth step in the sales process. There's a total of 7 steps, but each one has little baby steps you have to do. But let's focus on the 7 main ones for now. Now, if my voice starts getting raspy, it's because, I'm doing a lot of talking. So let me get a little more comfortable. Let me throw in the old pocket square that I prefer. Again, you got to be comfortable. You want to feel comfortable. I personally like the red one much better. Okay, we ready? Where am I start? What are you doing? Are we filming? Come on now, I'm just messing with you kids. Now, in order to pull off the fourth step and build value in any product or service, you must first understand the product and or service. If you're in sales and you don't know everything there is to know about your product, then you need to take the time and learn it. Stop trying to just wing it. It is unprofessional and it's quite rude if you ask me. Your job is to help a customer make a good decision. So how can you do that if you don't know your own product or service? So do your homework and learn it, okay? That's why it's imperative to have impeccable product knowledge and always stay up to date on the latest and greatest. Remember, it's not enough just being an expert on your product and service. You should also become an expert on the competition's product and services too. The more knowledgeable you are, the better and more easily you'll be considered a pro by the prospect and become trusted. If you've been listening well, then you should have plenty of information to point out the values and benefits by now. See, this is why it's so important to follow each step to the letter. If you have a great introduction, you can gather great intel. And if you gather great intel, you can build extreme value far more easily because the prospect has already given you the information you need to point out key features, advantages, and benefits to make the sale. You really want to make sure you know the product, because if you don't and the prospect has questions you can't answer, you're going to lose credibility as the expert. Now, if you don't know everything at first, that's okay. Just tell them you'll find out whatever they want to know and get back to them. But make sure that you continue to learn about the product or service you're selling, because if you don't, it's foolish. And I want you to become really educated on how many problems your products and services can solve. People buy solutions. They want to know how your product or service is going to help them solve a problem or prevent one. The better you know the product, the better off you'll be. So take a pen and write it down. I need product knowledge. Study it, master it, and it will always serve you well. Now, product demonstrations or presentations are your chance to sell the product. If you're doing the steps correctly, this is the part where you'll build value, and it should be pretty easy to do. If you didn't ask the right questions, then you may not have enough information, and then you'll be forced to make assumptions. Now, I've made a lot of money making assumptions because there's certain things we can assume our customers are going to like about our product or service. But it's way more valuable if we know for sure, and to do that, all we need to do is ask great questions and get them to give us the information. So when we're talking about the product, we can show them exactly how it's going to solve their particular issues and challenges. Make sense? Some best practices when giving a product demo or presentation would be to be thorough and always explain what each feature will do for the customer. Never assume that they'll automatically know what the advantage and benefits are just because you pointed out the feature. You actually have to point out the feature, the advantage of that feature, and then the benefit. For example, if you wanted to point out an air conditioner as a feature, I wouldn't assume that they knew it would keep them cool, and by keeping them cool, avoid having sweat stains on their back when they visit their clients. See, the air conditioner is the feature. Staying cool is the advantage, but not having sweat rings is the benefit. And ultimately, making more sales is the bottom line, and that's the result. The more you can sell the result, the better off you'll be. Anytime you're presenting your product or doing a demo, make sure that you point out the feature, advantage, and the benefit. Never assume that they know what it is or that they value it. Just get confirmation along the way. The biggest issue for more salespeople is they try to do this step quickly or without any information, and that's where they lose the sale. They don't really know how to build value because they didn't ask the right questions, or they had a weak introduction, which caused the prospect to clam up and not talk very much. So rather than take a proactive approach and get really good at all the steps, people just improvise and take shortcuts. Shortcuts are when you just skip a step or do one quickly and forget the whole reason you were doing it in the first place. This is the main reason amateurs stay amateur, and only the top 10% of salespeople make 90% of the money. If you want to be a pro, you need to be intentional about it. You need to practice, drill, and rehearse these steps and continue to get better and better and better at them until you get really, really good, and then you'll see that it was possible the whole time. How long it takes is based on you. You decide how much you're going to practice. You decide how long it's going to take to decide to just do what I'm saying rather than to second guess it and do nothing instead. You're the whole reason you will be great or you will be average. As I always say, life is about choices. The better your choices, the better your life. That's a fact. If you want a major piece of gold that took me a long time to learn, listen to this one. There is only one you, and you only come with the product or service you're selling. You know what I mean? I mean, you aren't down the street at the other place. The only place that the customer can get you is through you. This is why you must build value in not only the product or service you're selling, but also in you. You're a value too. And it's really important for you to realize that, and that you can get that value across when you're dancing with the customer. If you can build extreme value in you and make sure that they value you too, when it comes time to make a deal, they'll realize they can't get you anywhere else, and so they tend to pay a little bit more when it comes down to negotiating. Okay? Make sense? I hope so, because it's what most salespeople completely fail to understand, and it costs them millions. Whenever you fail to build value, you fail to get people to pay you. Since you are an extreme value, don't ever forget to make sure it's communicated when building value of your product or service, because you're included. Now, we could talk all day about building value, but unless I know the specific product or service you're selling, it's too difficult to get specific and go deeper. I suggest, again, join the Facebook group and come hang out in our Closer School Lives, and I'll give you some more one-on-one coaching there. I can answer people's live questions on those, so jump on the next one if you can, and we'll talk more about how to do it specifically for whatever product or industry you're actually in. Fair enough? Okay, let's move on to the next step.